Some of you may not like this. Some discouraging news for dieters tonight. The June issue of Consumer Report says that diets do not work for most people. But the magazine found that 25% of those subscribers surveyed managed to keep off 2/3 of the weight that they'd lost for 2 years. That is far better than the 95% failure rate usually quoted.
It afflicts millions of women. Premenstrual syndrome. Most suffer in silence, their symptoms ranging from back pain to violent mood swings. But help is available, and Dr. Peter Salgo joins us now with a special report. Peter?
Yeah, there's some surprising help available, actually. You know, for years, it's been the stuff of jokes, and these are jokes usually told by men at the expense of women. But women know that PMS is no joke, and that the male-dominated health establishment has done seemingly precious little to find a solution until recently.
Ellen Cirillo suffered for 8 years.
There were times that I preferred just to stay in a dark room and pull the covers over my head, that the cramps were so bad.
A woman we'll call Mary won't even show her face.
I feel like I'm ready to throw in the towel. I just get depressed.
These two women, and millions like them, suffer from PMS, or premenstrual syndrome. But just what is PMS? It has physical symptoms, bloating, cramping, backache, and nausea, but often it's the psychological symptoms that cause the most trouble: anxiety, depression, and the feeling that you simply cannot cope.
And I'm not aware that I'm losing control until I've lost control. And one of my children turns to me and says, "Having one of your PMS days, are you?"
Experts say that between 60 and 90% of American women suffer from some of these symptoms some of the time. Most of them handle the symptoms well. But for 1 to 2%, PMS can become debilitating. Why? No one really knows.
There is no blood test for PMS. We've never found anything different about women who have PMS from their sisters who don't.
Dr. Budoff runs the Women's Health Services on Bethpage, Long Island. And while she says that no one knows what causes PMS, she can offer treatment to ease it.
These women have probably the worst diets I've ever seen.
So, try these simple changes first. No caffeine.
Coffee makes you nervous and anxious. It makes you sleepless. It makes you grumpy.
Watch the salt.
Lower your salt intake. Don't eat really salty things.
Be sure you eat small, well-balanced meals every day. Antidepressants may also help. Dr. Margaret Moline of the Psychiatry Department of New York Hospital.
There have been recent studies looking at drugs that have been used to treat major depression, which appear promising.
And so we're left with a syndrome that affects millions of women with very little research to back it up and with lots of stigma attached to it. Many women are afraid to admit they have it.
The last thing I wanted was to be perceived as someone who is capable of working 3 weeks out of 4, but in the other 4 you had to lock her up in a closet.
PMS is a diagnosis that's somewhat controversial. There are those who believe it does not exist.
Obstetricians and gynecologists notoriously shunned the disease. We tend to kind of send all of our patients to psychiatrists.
That may label women with physical problems as psychiatric patients.
We get blamed for our hormones. But you have to realize that the jails are full of men.
Dr. Toth believes that he can cure some women with PMS. That's right, cure. Those whose symptoms are due to chronic pelvic infection.
I had a number of cases of PMS, women with PMS, where we administered antibiotic therapy and the symptoms either improved or completely reversed.
Ellen Cirillo was one of them.
I don't feel any cramping whatsoever. I don't have any backache. I feel that I'm even keeled, and I just feel wonderful.
Well, we're going to have more information from Dr. Toth in a couple of months. He promised to get back to us by September and let us know what his research is showing. Now, there is one other trick you might try, and it's exercise. Nobody knows why it works, but it does for many women. And besides, who cares why it works if it does, since nobody really knows what causes PMS either. Exercise is worth a try. It probably can't hurt.
Meanwhile, what about those over-the-counter PMS drugs we see advertised?
Well, again, since nobody knows what causes PMS, those drugs that promise that they get to the cause of it probably don't. But they probably have, for some women, some effect, and if it works for you, why not?
Okay, thank you, Peter.
All right, let's check the weather right now. Storm is joining us with the forecast. Nice day, Storm. How about another one?
Well, it wasn't too bad. We did have a lot of clouds making their way in later in the day. The humidity was quite high, but we were very warm. Temperatures today getting up to 80 degrees. Tomorrow, a repeat of the same kind of weather. We have a little bit of a breeze blowing, so we're not going to be getting much in the way of fog around the region. even though the humidity is fairly high, except some patchy fog out on Long Island and probably inland a bit. Temperatures overnight tonight about 4 or 5 degrees above normal for this time of year. Had a warm front that moved on over us. That gave us the mild weather we had today and the warm weather we'll have tomorrow. Colder and drier air will shift in behind it, but because there isn't a lot of moisture associated with this, we probably won't get some real constant shower activity from it, but maybe some off and on kind of weather late in the day tomorrow into the early evening. And by midnight, the frontal system should be by. We should begin to clear out, and lots of clear skies behind it, so the next 5 days after tomorrow look really fine. Tomorrow, expect those temperatures to be quite warm. Readings again, feeling kind of humid, sticky out. Readings up about 82 degrees. As we go through the next 5 days, Wednesday clears out, 72 degrees, 74 the following day, and temperatures keep on rising as we head into the weekend. Lots of sunshine throughout the period and pretty dry weather throughout. So we should have a very, very nice week to look forward to, but have the umbrellas handy just in case tomorrow evening.
Okay. Thanks, Storm.
Still ahead tonight, the verdict that's creating an international incident.
And also Mick Jagger, Uncensored, a steamy new book about the Rolling Stones' alleged bisexual affairs. And here's Johnny. We'll tell you about a special honor here in New York for the former king of late-night TV.